Hi, my name is Ray Catola, and you may know me from the such projects as... You may also know me as the host of the internet's favorite harness handicapping show, North American Harness Update, which I host with these two guys, Mike Prebosi and Rod Adams Jr. Every Friday from 9 p.m. Eastern, you can catch us talking harness, handicapping harness, and most importantly, having fun with harness. Can we please get this stuff out of my face? Thank you! North American Harness Update, Fridays from 9 on SRN1. Also download Often Pacing, and using promo code NAHU200K, start your stable with an additional 200,000 coins. You can also catch show archives and racing analysis over at our website, NAHUPicks.com!
NAHU crew returning again with another edition of the NAHU Extra, covering the late pick four from Running Aces Casino and Racetrack for Tuesday, June 26th, joined here by a special guest, an esteemed guest, a guest who is in need of an introduction. However, he may not be as well, Mr. Darren Gagne, track announcer, Aces extraordinaire, other titles to which I do not have on my hand at the moment. Now, Darren, greetings.
Greetings. Good evening, guys. Happy to be on the show and ready to break down this pick four tonight.
Now, besides the pick four, Darren, there's a special event that is coming up at Running Aces. The marquee race of the summer season over there, happening, if I'm not mistaken, the same night we go, July 22nd.
That is correct. $50,000 final for the Dan Patch Free-For-All Pace on Sunday, July 22nd. And NAHU Crew 3 Wide will be with us here in Minnesota for that, so that's very exciting. But the eliminations are going to be coming up in less than 2 weeks on July the 8th, on Sunday night. We're going to have two divisions, $15,000 each in these eliminations for the Dan Patch. We already have 16 horses confirmed, and there's one more horse floating out there that we expect will come in that was postmarked in time. So we're waiting on our great U.S. Postal Service on that one. But quickly we'll tell you about who we have lined up already. Hawks Red Chief from the Rick McGee barn. This horse has been racing at Running Aces recently. Fire Drake, of course, winner of the Open last night, is in the big race. He was the winner of the Dan Patch Free-For-All last year at Running Aces. Make It Big from the Plested Wiseman barn is going to be in there. Elusive Image, the Tony Huffman Jr. horse, been racing out in Indiana in series action out there, just won in 50 flat out there. Horse called Phoenix Warrior N for Tim Betts from Pennsylvania. Another horse that just won in 50 or 50 and change out there at the Meadows. Captain Velocity, Trent Stoller horse, has been racing in Ohio and Indiana. We have Trashy Tongue Talker from the Leonard barn. This horse has been racing in Indiana and Hawthorne as well. Roland and Raw coming to us from Yonkers and by way of the Iowa Fairs recently. And To the Limit, of course, strung a couple of nice races together in the Opens already this season at Aces. I'm an Athlete from the Pacheco barn is going to be there. We have Stevensville, also from the Rick McGee barn. Another top, the stud pacer, who's done well already this season at races. And the mare, Gold Star Misty, top pacing mare, she has nominated to the Dan Patch. So that's exciting. She's going to take on the boys. And we have Best in the Business from the Gene Miller barn for Brett Boyd Racing. 9 Ways is a horse in the Mayer barn. Better's Promise, another Pacheco horse is in there. And Pretty Boy Swag, another talented Iowa pacer from the Dwayne Rowland stable. So those are 16 confirmed, and a lot of talent and speed, and it's going to make for some exciting elimination races, and we're really excited about this Dan Patch in 2018.
Well, I sure hope everyone at home was out writing all those names down. I know I didn't, but hopefully there'll be more coming in. I'm not also an expert on fruit preserves, but Darren, that sounds jam-packed. What else is jam-packed is his late pick 4 sequence for Tuesday, June 26th, $7,500 guarantee pool. Now, something special with this pick 4, $7,500 guarantee. We're soon going to be upping it to $10,000. That's right. Now, when can we expect that, Darren? $10,000 guarantee by when?
The pool last night was just under 8,500. So we're expecting within the next week, 2 weeks at the most, to guarantee the 10,000. So everything's been moving forward great. Pools have been getting a lot of response from our players, and we're very happy with how things are progressing.
And that should definitely be incentive to get your money into this pool, because it will eventually parlay into bigger endeavors in the future. This first leg of this sequence, race number 6, is a 9-race program, so it starts in the 6th race, and it already starts out very competitive. Filly and Mare Open Handicap pace, $13,000. Some of the best Filly and Mare pacers on the grounds at Aces. And Darren, give us a little bit of your on-track insight. Who do you got here to kick things off?
All right, before we jump right into this, just want to say, how about the payoff on last night's Pick 4?
Boom.
Crazy. Oh, yeah.
You gave that out.
Over $1,600 for 50 cents, $16.33.70 in fact, for 50 cents, and 7-2 kicks it off. 9-2 you get on Banker Bolo in the second leg. 6-5 on Fire Drake in leg 3, and then you get a 15-1 shot to close it out. $1,633 for 50 cents. And see, that's where we're headed. The bigger the pools get, the more we're going to see payoffs like that. That's what it's all about.
Your ticket beat mine by a nose.
Yeah, you're right. By a nose. I had a $72 ticket, and that was a fantastic payoff for that. Over $1,633.
Do you mind going deep in the? I mean, I know I like to play. My tickets are typically between $40 and $80, depending on what I think. Do you mind going deep in these deeper pools and these bigger pools?
Absolutely. As the pools, the more you're willing to put up, because you have the potential to hit that in your payout. You're definitely covering, as we talked about. Even if you miss it, 5 or 6 nights, you hit one with a comma, then you're covered, and that's what it's all about. Keep building the pools, and then you're willing to.
The past couple weeks, the sequences have been a little better, a lot more competitive, for sure, and that's producing the bigger payoffs. I mean, it's been even with medium-priced horses, you're still getting, decent payoffs.
Absolutely. You see that? I say it so many times. There's so much value at running Aces. You just have to be able to find it. But you see it time and time again. You'll see it in these Pick 4s. You see it in trifectas. It's just amazing when you see dead chalk horses first and second. You get a mediocre priced horse in third. Trifecta pays $125, $130. It's unbelievable. But let's jump into this.
That Pick 4, if you had that horse in the last race, you definitely saw something not many people did.
Well, I mean, let's face it. It was 5-year-old and under maidens. There wasn't much in the group. And, aside from the top 2 horses that I picked, he was the only other horse that made any sense at all to me. So I threw him on the ticket, and it paid off, 15-1. It made the payoff. The late Pick 3 was also fantastic, $350 for 50 cents when you get 9-2, 6-5, and then you get that 15-1 in the final leg.
Well, if you definitely caught that horse, Darren, I'm really interested to see who you got in this first leg, especially considering potential heavy favorite in the 7 Gold Star Misty. Appears to be faster than all of them. However, if she bounces off that effort, a lot of others here could end up taking the gold.
Well, here's the thing for me in this first leg. It really is all about the 2 outside horses. These 2 mares traded blows around the racetrack. They've done it already a couple of times this year. They did it at least 5 or 6 times last season, with Gold Star Misty just floating out, winding up first over with no seat at the pylons and just riding up alongside the Kiss on the Lips, and those 2 battled around the track so many times, and it would just be a ding-dong battle to the wire. One of them would get there by a head or a neck or a nose. So this is what we're looking at. Gold Star Misty was absolutely dominant last time out. Kiss on the Lips had absolutely no answers for Gold Star Misty on that night. Gold Star Misty just went down the road. She was just absolutely on fire that night. She won drawing away by almost 4 lengths in 51-4, 27-4 last 40. But both of these outside mares have a lot of speed in their arsenal. I expect those are going to be the 2 we're going to see going out there and battling things out right from the beginning, as they've done so many times. For me, the X Factor in this race, I have 2 X Factors in my late pick 4 on Tuesday night, both of them wearing saddle pad number 5. Here, the 5, What It Do Baby Boo, is one that I'm going to throw on the ticket because this mare was the 2-year-old state champion, 3-year-old state champion last year. She's coming back now as a 4-year-old. We have no idea how good she is this season. But one thing I can tell you about this mare, she has the most unbelievable rally from the back of the field that you maybe have ever seen. I don't know if you caught any of that last season at Running Aces. She would be last, gapping out by 4 or 5 lengths and get things rolling down the backside onto the final turn, sweep by the field and open up 5 or 6 lengths. So, if that tremendous speed battle hooks up between Gold Star Misty and Kiss on the Lips, What It Do Baby Blue has a tremendous lead kick. So I'm throwing the 5 with the 7 and 8 for that reason in leg 1.
Now, Mike, I definitely assume that you also use the outside 2, but any other ones got your eye?
Yeah, I mean, the outside 2 are obvious, but I think the 3, Abajay Hanover, has a big chance. This horse, used to be a workhorse, raced at the Meadowlands, won 6 times last year, has made almost $200,000, and, fits at this level, 2nd time Lasix, 3rd start over the racetrack, and, I think it's a perfect post, a perfect spot to pounce, especially if that speed build develops. I'm not too crazy about the 5 just because, it's a 4-year-old coming back that's been facing state breds. I realize the horse, I just feel like maybe she might need one. So I'm more 3, 7, 8 to start.
Rodney, that's all I got. What do you got?
I'm only going 2 deep here. I'm going to go with the 3 and the 7. I think Abajay, 2nd start Lasix is going to be the key. You guys know I'm a big fan of 2nd start off the layoff and 2nd start Lasix. So that to me is a big angle, and the inside draw is definitely going to help. And then the 7 Gold Star Misty, I have nothing else to add from what these guys said already. They basically covered her, so 3-7.
Well, the one thing I do want to add to Abby Jade Hanover is looking at her making her 3rd start here at Running Aces. From her first start, she flattened out going first over, but then she made a massive improvement last out to finish 3rd, first time Lasix, and that's the kind of improvement that makes me use her on the ticket. Considering it's 2nd time out and 2nd start off the 6th scratch, she's bound to improve and could potentially get the right trip to pull off a bit of an upset. So I'm 3-7 as well, Rod. You almost put it well enough for me to just use your words, but I had to add a little bit more of the Ray juice to that mix. And we move on now to race number 7 from race number 6. Filly and Mare hours of $850 last 4 starts. We got some bottom level pacers going here, a field of 9 doing so. Darren, start things off. There's some standouts here, but still, you could spread out if you want to.
You absolutely can spread out if you want to in a race like this, but I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't get much further than the standouts. The 2 inside horses here, Hot Moons and Nutmeg's Desire, separated by a nose after fire last time out. They both draw inside again for tomorrow's contest. And against a field that's definitely not stellar, I just don't see a whole lot of other directions to go here, unless you're just going to say, the 1 and 2 are just, for some reason or another, they're going to hook up and battle or something. They're going to be off the ticket here. The other X Factor I mentioned, I had 2 in my late pick 4 for Tuesday night, both wearing at 5. Number 5 backstock here in this race is an X Factor for me, dropping down significantly in class off of the judges' scratch last time out. I opted 0 for 22 this season. I opted to not include the 5 in my late pick 4 ticket. But if I wanted to spread out a little bit more, this is a horse that I would include. I'm just going 1 and 2 here in the second leg.
Mike, do you see it to be that decisive?
No, I'm very deep here. If you look down the page, 2018, a lot of 0s and 1s in the win column with these horses. Very inconsistent. A horse line this year, this last time and still couldn't get by. I thought that the 1 would win back, was completely flat as a pancake. There's other ways you can go in here. I think the 4 is usable, start back, even though, the horse's lines look bad. He's been back both times. Third back should be better versus these. I will use the 5. I do agree. I like the class drop. This horse has been right there. 9 shares out of 22 races. Did win 3 times last year, but has won 27 races lifetime. So the horse does know how to win. I think the 7's interesting at a price. This horse, always closes at Hawthorne. Had 1 start over the racetrack and was bet a little bit. Definitely going to be ignored here, and I don't mind the connections. And then the 9, Relentless Spirit. This horse ended up inside pylons last time in the same race, but was 9-5 versus these same horses. You're going to get a lot better price tonight. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 9, 6 horses.
Rod, I'm just trying to catch up on all those numbers. Do you have anything a little bit slimmer?
Yeah, I'm going 4 deep here. The 1 and 2, like Darren and Mike said, they're obvious. I don't have anything else to add from what they said there. The 5 backstock, I really like this horse. I had him on top last time, or her on top last time. She is 0 for the year, but I really like her chances in this race. Draws the 5 hole, great spot, and as long as this horse isn't short coming off the scratch last time, I think she definitely deserves a chance here. And then I'm going to go outside to the 8 Awesome World. This one comes off an okay effort, was just too far back. My main play here is the driver change to J.D. Yoder. I think that's big going from Timothy Brown to J.D. Yoder, and I'm not going to let this horse beat me off of that. I think that's a big angle, and even with the outside post, I give this horse a decent shot, especially if they end up going quick up front. So 1, 2, 5, 8.
I'm also 2 deep, although I'm not opting with the obvious 2. I'm tossing Hot Monets from my ticket just because Nutmeg's Desire seems a pinch better than her. But I was communicating with the above realm there, if you can pardon me. But aside from Nutmeg's Desire, I also used the 9 Relentless Spirit made her first start down at this bottom level after racing against a little too tough, where she was still showing some decent form after shipping in from Rosecroft. Showed speed from post 7 last out, went off as the favorite, most likely for the class drop in the first time Lasix. Then had a bit of confusion into the stretch, ended up fading back as a result. I'm thinking with a cleaner trip, she can put herself into the mix, and looking at the form of the rest of these horses, all she needs to do is just find that semblance of form she had back at the hours of $2,500 level, and she could potentially win here at what Mike said, a decent price. So I'm 2-9 in the second leg of this sequence. The third leg is the 8th race. Fillies and Mares, hours of 2,700 their last 4 starts. Another decent-sized field, 8 of them going in line this time. Darren, I thought that this was the toughest of all the divisions because I'm the deepest of all the legs in this ticket. I'm curious if you're the same.
Well, I went 3 deep in here. I definitely agree that this is a tough race. I landed on the 7 Better Lady. Gets Nick rolling in the bike of this time. This one again off is the scratch there for Chaco that judges scratched last time out. We last saw this one on the 12th of June. So that's 14 days from race day to race day. But that most recent start was a very nice gate-to-wire win in 54-1. Paced home in 28 seconds flat. Jumps up a little bit in class level from that win level last time out. But that was a very solid win. She's got 7 of 21 at this season, and she's been on the board 17 out of 21 starts this year. So Better Lady's my top pick in here. Number 6, Swinging Again, I think is going to take a lot of action at the windows, and deservedly so. This one likes to come from off the pace, closes well, 28 and 2 last quarters, the last couple of starts. From well out of it, 6th or 7th at the half-mile pole to finish 3rd by 2.5 last time in 54-3. Just the 3rd start of the year for Swinging Again. She had a very good season at running aces last year, so if she continues to improve, she should be a big factor here. Then the other horse I'm going to use is number 2, Totally Racy. Take a look at the start, 2 starts back for this one. I thought it was a very good effort. Finishing 2nd by less than 2 lengths in 54-2, pacing home in 28 seconds flat. The next time out, kind of running up a little bit, used hard from post 9, and I thought that took a lot of sting out of her early in the mile. She had a good trip along the pylons, but didn't have much kick at the end, wound up finishing 5th. Draws post 2 tonight, big post relief tomorrow night for Totally Racy. I think she's going to be a factor. So 7, 6, and 2 are in that order the horses I like in race 8. I'm going to use those 3.
Oh, wow. So I heard a couple numbers foreign to my ticket. Mike, do you have any more?
3D for me. I agree on the 7. Better Lady has a big chance. Scratched out of the Open, but prior to that was, nice win on June 12th. Controlled the race. Could control it again here. And I just feel like it's been passing better. The 8, no guarantees. This horse ended up in the Open last time. No shot there. Basically parked the entire way. Prior to that, had been racing well. It was $3,500 to $5,000, finishing second from inside draws. But this horse is capable. Those Cow Expo races too are decent if you look back there. And then the 5, Hairway to Heaven. Another one that ended up in the Open on the 12th. Really no chance against those. Prior to that, made a huge move and ended up getting tired. But I don't mind that race. And then the 3 starts prior to that were so I think this horse is chance. It will probably be ignored off that morning line. So 5, 7, 8.
Rod.
Kind of similar here. I'm going to start with the 4, Get Her Queen Flush. I like this mare. Comes off of a brutal first over trip last time and just couldn't sustain it. I give her that excuse there. And then, 2 back. I thought raced okay. Again, similar. This start, I'm kind of thinking maybe she gets out again from the gate and gets into a decent spot, looking for good horses to follow. And this looks like a good spot to do that. The 6 swinging again. This one's pretty obvious. Was just absolutely flying last week. Was too far back out of it and was flying late. Boom Boom Shaboom just got away from everybody in that race, and nobody could come catch her. So I use that one. Probably going to be the favorite here. The 7, Better Lady. Obviously, the 6 scratch is a concern, or the judge's scratch was a concern last time, but the horse is in very good form, and I see no reason not to use this one. And then the 8, No Guarantees, is the last one that I use. I really like, before that race in the Open, the Nominers of 5,000 start was very, very good. And even 3 back just got beat, had to battle all the way down the backside, and just, lost to a good horse who ended up beating her the next week. So, I see no reason not to throw this one on, even from the outside post. And it was Mooney Svensson's choice in the race. So 4, 6, 7, 8.
I have no idea what I'm missing here in the 6 and the 7. I tossed both of them. With the 7, Better Lady, I'm not a fan of her races in her last 3 starts because I feel the rail gave her a distinct advantage in those miles. That said, now drawing post 7, I'm a little worried, especially considering of a horse like the 8, No Guarantees, who has raced well from a varied amount of posts, also has a lot more back class in the 7, so to me seems like the top contender in this race and is one of 3 I use. I also really like Totally Racy, who moves inside off of that 9-hole trip last out, especially like the fact that she went for the lead. She tried to be put into the race. Unfortunately, just did not have enough to sustain that into the stretch and ended up fading to be 5th. I'm expecting her to be driven somewhat more similarly up towards the front, but should at least have a little bit more left in the tank come the stretch drive. And the 4, Get Her Queen Flush, I agree, Rod. That last mile stands out to me, going first over after finishing 3rd off a rail trip the start before. Most likely going first over was a sign that she had something in the tank. She had some kind of force to exert in that race, and unfortunately she hanged doing it. Maybe second time off that mile. She's getting better. She's getting better. She's getting better. I have no end to that sentence, so I'm just going to say she looks like she's getting better. So I'm 2, 4, 8 in the 3rd leg of this sequence. Definitely a lot of action you could take in that race. And now, to close things up with a close-up, the 9th race. Now winners of 6 to 7 condition claimers, purse of $7,400. 8 horses going postward. And Darren, a morning line favorite, you're below 2 to 1. How to Train Your Dragon? Is he really that obvious?
Well, he looks the part on paper, but I'll tell you what, this is the race that I spread the most on. I went 4 deep in this leg. I did pick the 6 How to Train Your Dragon on top, but I'm not completely confident in that. He definitely was impressive in that victory last time out, 27-4 last quarter. Came from well out of it. This is definitely a closing type of a horse. Came from well out of it to win by 3/4 of a length at the wire there in 54-1. He does have 5 wins, 17 starts this year, and 10 for 17 on the board. I just don't know if he's going to be good enough to string 2 wins in a row. Now, for second, I went with a 2, Don't Doubt the Lakers. Threw him on the pick 4 ticket here. I thought he had a really good race last time out, well involved, was hard used in the middle portions of the race, and still hang on gamely to finish third, beaten 3 lengths in 54 and change. Paced home in 28-3. The start before that had early speed from an outside post and almost took him all the way. Got tired late in the stretch, wound up beating less than 2 lengths, finishing 4th. And the start before that was a pretty good pocket-style trip, and held on gamely in that pocket position to hold in 53-1 for second. Consistently pacing home in right around 28 seconds and a little bit of change. After that, the 5, Poor Little Rich Girl, I think is possibly the value horse, 12-1 on a morning line that I want to throw on here from pick 4. This horse has been knocking at the door the last few starts, racing at the same level. Second by a neck, 3 starts back. Big move to take the lead. The start after that just got beat at the wire by a half a length, finishing second in 55-1. And a good effort last time out as well, closing from 5th to finish 3rd, beaten less than a length for everything in that contest on the sloppy track as well. So Poor Little Rich Girl's been knocking at the door. I feel I have to include her here. And the 7, Smoke Rings, is a sort of an X factor here in the final race of the night because this horse is coming in, racing at Indiana and also in Chicago at Hawthorne. Not particularly stellar lines the last 3, but this horse had a very strong month of May out in Indiana at Hoosier Park with a win in 2 seconds. Start after that, found the front, maybe got tired there and faded quite a bit in that race. Not much to say about the start after that at Hoosier, and then the race at Hawthorne, several breaks throughout that mile. So I just think that this horse coming into the Wiseman barn, one you have to include with the right pace scenario, he could become a factor. So I got a couple of horses, the 5 and 7, that I think could be value horses, and the 6 and the 2 I think are going to get a lot of play. 2, 5, 7.
Smoke Rings definitely seems like a literal X factor, so long as he stays flat. Otherwise, you may see some X's on the chart. Mike, for you to cap things off, what do you got?
Too deep in the finale, and I tried to beat that 6 last time, and this horse gets steppy in the stretch every week. I didn't use this horse last week, and he ended up getting a stone-cold perfect trip to win. He's just probably better than most of these. You know, he should have won the last 2 races, to be honest. I just feel like he's faster than him, so he's almost impossible to leave off. The other horse I'm using is the 4, Ramsey, who was claimed for 5 at Hoosier. Raced here on June 12th, and I thought raced very well against Barbosa. Flew late to be second. Then had a really tough trip last time. Now, gets a drop on paper. I just feel like, that these horses maybe aren't quite as good as some of those, 6 claiming handicap horses. Draws better, should get a little bit of a trip, and you're definitely going to get a price. So 4 and 6.
Rodney, close things out for you.
I'm 3 deep here, starting with the 1, Tornado Henry. Kind of tailed off a little bit from his form at the beginning of the meet, but I do think this is a good spot. Should get a good trip once again. Bobcat jumps on, and this horse, maybe just needs the driver switch again. And what?
But he's had 2 perfect trips in a row.
I don't care. I'm still using him. I like him in this race.
Fight.
I like him in this race. He's a good price play. He's a good price play. He's got the rail. He should get a good trip. And if things, kind of get unsettled on the front end, he's going to be the one that could benefit late in the mile from coming up the inside. So I'm using him. The 6, How to Train Your Dragon, is the obvious horse here. I have nothing else to add on that one. And then the 7, Smoke Rings. I know this horse. I've raced against him just about every week in Chicago when he was racing at Maywood on the half. He goes to a 5/8. This horse loves the small track. I think the move back to the small track is going to be to his liking, and this is a good spot for him following How to Train Your Dragon, because he does like to come from off the pace. And this is it just looks like a good setup for him, and he's going to be great value in this race. So make sure you throw him on your ticket. 1, 6, 7.
I feel like those lines from Maywood would be a little bit more relevant if Maywood has not been closed for 5 years. As for me...
2, sir.
As for me, excuse me, I'm getting very intellectual here in my closing out of this sequence. Thank you. I'm reaching my zone. I'm too deep.
You're going to lose
How to train
anyway.
your dragon. How to train your dragon. Do you want to know how to train him, Rod?
No.
Do you want to?
Not
He's been
from
really
you.
feisty for you. You gotta
from you.
collar him. You gotta rein him in. And he's going to be the favorite in this race. And for just reasons. That mile last time out stands out compared to any other race on paper from any of these other horses. So there's not much more else to add. And the other horse I do use, and I agree with Darren, is the value of this race is the 5, Poor Little Rich Girl, moving out of the claiming handicap ranks, which Mike was saying, at least for the 4 Ramsey, seem a little bit tougher. Poor Little Rich Girl was exiting that similar hierarchy of the $5,000 to $6,000 ranks, and she was racing really well there, finishing second 3 starts back, and then improved with a first over effort to start after that, and then closed even better on that sloppy track to finish 3rd. She's just putting in good miles week in, week out. The one thing is that she's just got to learn to get her head in front of the last horse in front of her, and then she can win, and then this pick 4 can pay $1,600 like it did on Sunday.
Boom.
So that said, that's my ticket. I'm 5-6 in this last leg, so my ticket goes as follows for 50 cents. I'm 3-7 with 2-9 with 2-4-8 with 5-6. That bargain basement ticket costs $12. Darren, yours.
Okay, I have 5, 7, 8 with 1, 2, with 1, 2, with 2, 6, 7 in leg 3, and then in the final leg 2, 5, 6, 7. So 5, 7, 8, 1, 2, with 2, 6, 7, 2, 5, 6, 7, $36 for 50 cents. If you want to spend more, throw the 5 in the second leg.
Mike, yours.
3, 7, 8. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9 with 5, 7, 8 with 4, 6. It's 54 for 50 cents.
And Rodney.
3, 7 with 1, 2, 5, 8 with 4, 6, 7, 8 with 1, 6, 7. It's $48 for 50 cents, and it's gonna win.
And that said, that does it for another edition of the NAHU Extra. We want to thank Darren Gagne for taking time out of his busy afternoon to stop by here, talk about some numbers, potentially winning numbers, and to remind us of the feature race this summer, Running Aces, the $50,000 Dan Patch, July 22nd. Again, Darren, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
All right, don't be a stranger. Don't be afraid to come back now, you hear? Well, you're here right now. Maybe you'll be here again later. That said, we are NAHU Picks. You can check out the website, NAHUPicks.com, for these tickets under the Running Aces tab, as well as Rod's analysis for the Tuesday program.
It's awesome.
Along with racing analysis every race day from Woodbine Mohawk Park, the Meadowlands, and once they reopen up, Western Fair. You can also listen to us on the radio and on the video. Fridays from 9 p.m. over at SRN1 and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. That's North American Harness Update. But that says, I have been Ray Catola. They're Mike Prebosi and Rod Adams Jr. We are the NAHU crew, joined here by Darren Gagne from Running Aces. And now I wonder what's on TV. Let's see here. Anything good? We got, it's starting up. Okay. I wonder if HBO's on.